know that more than 80% of the luxury leather products, like handbags, purses, and shoes, are made in China. Do you recognize this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been the OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world.
What if I told you the $1,000 Louis Vuitton bag swinging from a celebrity's arm actually costs about $15 to make, and the proof is splashed all over TikTok? A factory worker in Guangdong filmed rows of LV spec totes rolling off the line for pocket change, then posted the clip with a blunt caption. Same bag, no logo, $15. Within hours, the video rocketed past 10 million views, and the luxury world's worst-kept secret detonated in public view. Suddenly, the label that built its empire on European craftsmanship looked less like a heritage maison and more like a middleman charging a 4,000% markup for a monogram. Shoppers weren't just shocked, they felt hustled. Because if the only difference between a high-street knockoff and real LV is a leather stamp added in France, what exactly are we paying for? Quality, or the illusion of it? Stick around, because the $15 revelation is just the first crack. From silent price hikes to a $9 billion stock wipeout, the luxury meltdown you're about to hear makes that viral video look tame. The moment that first factory clip cracked 10 million views, TikTok morphed into a rolling evidence locker. Workers from Shenzhen to Sichuan flooded feeds with their own receipts, conveyor belts of unlabeled handbags, buckets of half-stitched monograms, spreadsheets listing overnight shipping to Los Angeles. Every post tagged US shoppers, DM for factory price. The effect was nuclear. Within 7 days, the hashtag #MadeFor15 surged past 75 million views, and luxury forums melted down under screenshots of $15 price tags.
Our price is only 1/10 of those from the boutique, but we have exactly the same design, same material, and we're even the same group of people who have been making this bag.
Camera phone tours exposed leather stockrooms, heat stamp stations, and pallets labeled for Paris customs. Even brand new influencers jumped in, live streaming side-by-side comparisons between an authentic Speedy and its factory twin. Viewers could hardly tell them apart, and the comment sections exploded with betrayal memes. Louis Vuitton's carefully curated aura of European artisanship began to look like smoke and mirrors, and mainstream outlets picked up the story before the brand could blink. Investors and regulators wanted answers too, from the brand itself. Overnight, the question shifted from "is this real?" to "how deep does this go?" Because if one viral leak could shred a century-old reputation, imagine what thousands might do. Next up, the breathtaking math behind that $15 production cost, and who's pocketing the difference. Louis Vuitton's defenders tried to wave away the viral clip as an outlier, until a second worker posted the factory's cost spreadsheet. There it sat, in black and white. Raw cowhide, $4.70, hardware and zippers, $185, labor $6.20, packaging 50 cents, quality control $95, export paperwork $75. Total, $15 and a handful of cents. Yet that identical tote retails for $2,050 on Fifth Avenue, $2,180 in Paris, and, after April's stealth hike, $2,289 online. The math slapped even veteran fashion analysts. Traditional luxury margins hover near 75%. LV's sheet looked like a software glitch. Commenters began calculating out loud. If my four-figure purchase covers $15 in materials and labor, where's the other $2,000 going? Theories poured in. Celebrity ads, flagship leases, heritage premiums, yet none felt wide enough to bridge that canyon. Then another bombshell detonated. The Made in France stamp costs about 80 cents to hot press onto each finished bag once pallets arrive from Shenzhen. Workers claim totes land in a French finishing plant, get stamped, stuffed with tissue, and shipped straight to boutiques. That single leather mark multiplies perceived value by a factor of 150. One finance blogger noted the material cost of 3 LV totes equals a single New York latte, yet the boutique price equals a month's rent for many first-time buyers.
Spent over $100,000 of my own money dissecting luxury bags, cutting them open, analyzing every stitch, every layer. Why? Because I had to know what made those bags so expensive.
For loyal customers, the revelation felt like a gut punch. They hadn't merely overpaid. They'd bought into a fairy tale of craftsmen trimming leather in romantic ateliers. Now the narrative reads more like a logistics play exploiting cheap labor, global shipping loopholes, and marketing mystique. And if Louis Vuitton's markup eclipses 14,000%, how high could it climb for the rest of the luxury alphabet? Analysts warn that once consumers digest those numbers, a reckoning could ripple through every fashion house, investors included, before the next earnings call. While outrage simmered online, Chinese factories seized the moment, flipping TikTok into a neon marketplace. Instead of disappearing under legal threats, managers went live with timed factory direct drops, inviting Western viewers to watch bags roll off the line in real time. Viewers voted for colors, a worker stamped the LV style panel, and couriers slapped shipping labels bound for Dallas or Detroit before the livestream ended. Prices? $99 plus international postage, a number chosen to dodge import duties on items declared under under 100. Orders poured in faster than moderators could delete product links. American resellers instantly smelled profit, bulk buying cartons to flip on Facebook groups at $500 a pop. Still a bargain against boutiques. Each sale didn't merely siphon revenue from Louis Vuitton. It broadcast proof that the brand's exclusivity was dissolving. Suddenly, the luxury gatekeepers weren't Parisian executives, but viral creators armed with ring lights and factory Wi-Fi. Louis Vuitton could have calmed the storm with honesty, but instead it poured gasoline on the fire. On April 24th, without a press release, social post, or tiny footnote on its website, the brand quietly bumped U.S. prices between 3 and 6% across every category: handbags, wallets, perfumes, even keychains. Shoppers discovered the hike the hard way, standing at the register, cards in hand, forced to swallow a surprise extra $40 on a fragrance or $400 on a Neverfull. Meanwhile, rival Hermès had alerted customers weeks earlier that a 10% rise would arrive May 1st, giving fans time to brace or buy early. The contrast painted Louis Vuitton as sneaky rather than premium. TikTok clips of stunned buyers went viral overnight, their receipts held to the camera like courtroom exhibits. Fashion commentators accused the house of pandemic-era greed, noting that supply chains have largely normalized and raw leather prices actually declined 8% this quarter. Wall Street noticed too. Analysts at Bernstein flagged the opaque hike as a desperation move aimed at cushioning soft first-quarter sales. The memo hit trading desks the same morning as shoppers' complaints, and LVMH stock slid another 2% before lunch. Brand loyalists felt double-crossed, first by the China manufacturing revelations, now by a stealth toll on their loyalty. For many, that silent surcharge became the last straw, sparking return requests and eBay listings of once-cherished monogram pieces. Reporters pressed the company for justification. Headquarters blamed rising craftsmanship costs, yet offered no breakdown. Consumer watchdogs weren't satisfied, launching petitions demanding transparent origin labels. Some boutique staff quietly admitted the price files arrived overnight with orders to say nothing until asked. That corporate hush fed conspiracy theories, boosting replica sales even more. In luxury's fragile trust economy, silence spoke louder than leather monograms. LVMH's earnings call landed like a lead balloon. When first-quarter revenue missed estimates by nearly 6%, traders hammered the stock, shaving over 7% off its value in a single session. That slide erased roughly $9 billion from Bernard Arnault's fortune before lunchtime, and the world's on-again richest man suddenly looked mortal. Overnight, French business papers buzzed with succession chatter. Insiders claim Arnault, 76, may step aside years earlier than his stated plan to rule until 85, clearing a lane for eldest son Antoine to rescue the brand's image before it craters. Analysts weren't polite. Bernstein called the miss a confidence fracture, linking softer U.S. demand directly to the TikTok expose and the stealth price hike. JP Morgan warned that luxury's old playbook of scarcity plus prestige no longer works when manufacturing videos stack up on every phone. As one note put it, margins shrivel when mystique evaporates. The street's verdict bled into boutiques. Wealth managers in New York and Hong Kong reported clients pausing planned purchases, waiting to see if further price shocks or leadership turmoil pushes resale values down. Even hardcore collectors, people who treat Capucines like a blue-chip stock, whispered about diversifying into Hermès or niche houses untouched by scandal. Inside LVMH, morale sagged. Staff described emergency town halls where executives peddled the usual commitment to excellence lines, but whispers focused on whether Arnault's famed iron grip can still steady a ship taking on water from all sides before regulatory probes start circling. The U.S.-China tariff slugfest that kicked off in 2018 was supposed to shield American factories, yet by 2025, it has detonated straight in the lap of European luxury. Washington's latest universal duty, a sweeping 25% levy on any Chinese parcel clearing customs above $100, was meant to squeeze fast fashion. Instead, it shoved Chinese workshops to go public, live streaming factory gate deals that still slip under the tax ceiling. Meanwhile, Beijing retaliated with a 125% surcharge on imported European leather goods, daring brands like Louis Vuitton to prove they aren't secretly made in China anyway. Trade lawyers call it mutually assured disruption. Brands now juggle three price tags: the boutique sticker, the quiet surcharge baked in for new tariffs, and the back-channel factory rate flashing on every phone screen. Consumers can see all three at once, and they're choosing the cheapest. A Goldman report estimates that by next quarter, direct from factory luxury sales could siphon $4 billion from European houses, nearly a tenth of their combined annual handbag revenue. Politicians on both sides dig in deeper. The White House signals no rollback before the election. China's Commerce Ministry vows more targeted pressure. Analysts warn that every fresh tariff round further erodes the myth that luxury equals Europe. If a Shanghai livestream can put the same monogram on a $99 tote, how long before shoppers treat that tote as the real thing? Louis Vuitton's crisis suddenly looks like a preview, not an anomaly. The next expose could tag Chanel, Dior, or Gucci. And once that domino line starts falling, no leather label may be safe from the tariff crossfire or the camera phones waiting to film it. Some executives talk of radical transparency transparency, publishing factory maps, live streaming audits. Yet insiders worry that honesty could kill the mystique outright for good, forever. Luxury's meltdown isn't thinning every wallet equally. It's splitting shoppers into two loud tribes. The first, the clout loyalists, still worship the logo. They shrug at viral factories, arguing that status is forged by perception, not stitching locale. If flashing an LV monogram still signals success at brunch, they'll pony up, even if the bag came straight from Foshan. Marketers bank on this group's fear of looking cheap, next to friends still swiping black cards. Opposite them stand the credibility crowd, budget-savvy Gen Z and battered millennials whose first luxury watch list now begins on TikTok Shop. For them, authenticity means catching corporations in a lie and publicizing the receipt. They devour factory floor streams, then brag about scoring a $99 real deal tote that bypassed corporate overhead. Their flex isn't the label, it's the hack. Early data shows the divide widening. A YouGov Snap poll found 46% of U.S. luxury shoppers would reconsider a future LV purchase after seeing cost breakdowns, yet 28% said they'd buy anyway because image matters more. Resale platforms mirror the mood. TradeZ reports listings of recent season LV jump 15% in 6 weeks, while demand for dupes surged 44%. Analysts warn that if the credibility crowd keeps deserting, the clout loyalists alone can't sustain. And there's no middle ground in sight. The algorithm keeps radicalizing both camps every time a new clip lands, and the clock is ticking fast. Brands face an impossible choice. Double down on scarcity to squeeze diehards harder, or abandon secrecy and gamble on radical transparency. Either path risks alienating half the market. As one Bain consultant quipped, luxury used to sell aspiration. Now it sells an argument about what luxury even means. Next, we test that theory inside Chanel's boardrooms, and the whispers aren't pretty. Louis Vuitton's century-old mystique now hangs by a single stitch, and everyone can see the thread fraying. Viral factory tours crushed the Made in France legend. Stealth price hikes painted the brand as greedy, and Wall Street's verdict stripped away the halo of invincibility. In the space of a few weeks, what once symbolized timeless craftsmanship now feels like a complex shell game of tariffs, logistics, and marketing spin. Yet the fallout extends far beyond one monogram. Consumers have tasted transparency, and the flavor is addictive. Every new TikTok exposing secret supply chains erodes the pedestal on which all heritage labels stand. If a $15 production cost can be crowdsourced in minutes, how long before Chanel's tweeds or Gucci's loafers get the same forensic treatment? Luxury houses must decide: double down on secrecy and scarcity, or fling the atelier doors open and hope the truth doesn't kill the dream. Investors, influencers, and everyday shoppers are watching the experiment unfold in real time. One path might salvage trust through radical honesty, the other could spark a race to the bottom, where a logo's value is measured only by how loudly it still turns heads in an airport lounge. Either way, the old equation, European origin plus sky-high markup equals eternal prestige, has cracked. So next time you spot a glimmering LV clasp across a crowded room, ask yourself, are you seeing a masterpiece of craft or a $15 commodity wrapped in marketing fairy dust? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want the inside scoop on the next luxury brand under the microscope, make sure you smash that subscribe button. The tea's only getting hotter from here.